What's going on? Jack Sauce Eric here, and it is day 13 of the 2023 Bitter Pops Advent Calendar. Man, we are getting in just under the gun, so to speak. It's about 11 o'clock at night. I've been wanting to do this all day. There just hasn't been an appropriate time to drink a beer, but this still counts. It's still day 13, and that means we are on schedule. I didn't want to do a two for tomorrow anyway. So day 13 of the Bitter Pops Advent Calendar. If you will notice, this is already torn off on the brand new box. So many possibilities in this box. Brand new 12 beers. I'm so excited. This has already been torn off because we started this video. You know, we try to do everything in one take, but Jack's got so excited because we really did just get home, and he's happy for us to be home. Unfortunate part is when I tore this off and threw it, he just took out the whole tripod, took out the camera. It was quite the mess. But we haven't seen what the beer is yet, and it is still day 13. Everybody's guessing what it can be. Whatever. Here we go again. All right, guys, let's see what we got. It was pretty funny, actually. I'm not going to lie. Day 13, Art History. I love these guys. Art History Brewing. Good morning, Munich. What is this? A Bavarian-style Helles. All right. If you know me, if you followed the beer review at all since we started doing it off and on, you know I am a sucker for lagers, and especially a Helles lager. This whole beer review started because Carol bought me the German Advent calendar several years ago, and I decided, why not record myself drinking these and talking and learning about them. And I've always liked German beers. I've always liked lagers. Well, that's really what got me loving the traditional styles and whatnot. And Art History, I'm very excited about it being from them because Art History, they're in Geneva, Illinois, and they are known for traditional style lagers. They are an amazing lager brewery here in Illinois and Geneva. As a matter of fact, Tom, I believe his name is Tom and Carol DeRouse. I hope I got that right. Cindy, not Carol, that's mine. Carol, Tom and Cindy Rao. I apologize to the Rouse. But Art History has been their thought since the 90s. They went traveling around following some beer guy's book. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I know they went to Europe, followed it around, tried different things, really fell in love with it. Tom was a home brewer. He went back, I don't know exactly when, but he went back to the Siebel Institute, Siebel World Brewing Academy, in Munich, Germany, and learned how to make these delicious classic styles, got a degree in brewing and brewing technology, came back, opened up shop in Geneva where they are producing just fantastic lagers. They opened up in 2020, which is kind of difficult, but they've survived, obviously, with the pandemic started. Bad timing in a sense, but also great timing because truthfully, during the pandemic, a love of lagers came back. People have been so obsessed with ales, and the hazy IPAs and whatnot, the ales are still forever king in the craft beer world, especially in the United States. But lagers really have like a hot streak going. People are loving classic, clean, crisp flavors. After all the hops, after all the adjuncts and whatnot, sometimes you just want something that tastes good and is classic, and that's what this is. Art History Brewing, like I said, in Geneva. A couple cool things about it. Not only do they make fantastic beer, but they support local artists. So if you go to their brewery, which I have been, there's all sorts of artwork from local artists that you can check out and get and whatnot. Just very, very cool. It's a very much so a community-focused brewery, and they have a great kind of Bavarian-style beer garden. It's just such a cool place. I know recently, this year, I believe, they opened up a really cool kind of production facility. They were getting big enough that they needed their own production facility, and they call it the Geneva Lager Works, I want to say, or Lager, I might be butchering that. Geneva Lager Works, and it's right down the street from them. I haven't really seen much or read much about it, but I know it's really cool because it's handling their production, and it's also set up to make lagers in collaboration with local breweries that don't necessarily have the ability in their small spaces to make lagers. Lagers are much harder to make than ales. They take a lot more finesse, a lot more time with a slower fermentation, and having a place like what Art History is set up is really great for smaller nano, macro, and micro brewers to kind of be able to produce their lagers. So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out of there, and I think that's really, really cool. All right, good morning, Munich. Helles style, we've talked about it, lager. To understand what the Helles is and why it's a part of the beer world, you have to understand where Pilsner came from in 1842. We've talked about this many times on the beer review. 1842, Joseph Grohl made the very first Pilsner in the town of Pilsen, Czechoslovakia, in response to the really crappy beer that people were literally pouring out into the streets in the town. They were sick of it. It was really bad. Joseph Grohl learned some new brewing technology. This is when the kilning process or the kilning roasters came in, which were meant for coffee, but they learned they could use it to roast the grains and the malts. And he produced this clear, crisp, clean beer, the Pilsner, the first Czech Pilsner, first Pilsner ever, and that is known as Pilsner Urquell. Well, the popularity of this beer just blew up, and not just in Czechoslovakia, but it made its way into Bavaria, into the Munich area, where the beers were still darker and maltier and a little bit smokier and whatnot. So the Bavarian brewers had to do something because they were, quite frankly, losing sales. So in the 18th century, I believe, or 19th century, excuse me, in the 1800s at some point, and I'm forgetting who it was, but they kind of came up with the idea of the Helles, their style of Pilsner. So Czech Pilsners use Saaz hops, and Pilsner malts, whatnot, and then the Saaz hops has a nice crisp, clean kind of bittering quality to it, but the Pilsner hops don't have a ton of oomph. They don't have a ton of maltiness to them. So Czech Pilsners tend to be very dry, very crisp, a lot of citrus, a lot of wildflower to it, and then that nice bittering quality. With the Helles, it brings a little bit more complexity to the lager. They add a little bit of Munich malts as well as the Pilsner malts. The Munich malt is darker. It roasts at a higher temperature. You get more of the yeasty and bready notes coming out of it. That's why when you hear people talk about a Helles style lager, they talk a little bit more of the sweet maltiness coming through, a little bit fuller bodied, lots of crispy cracker flavors, toasty cracker flavors, wildflowers, and again, a little citrus. Get that lemon pith. You know I love my pith. And of course, Hallertauer hops, one of the noble hops and one of the best hops in the world, which is going to bring a different quality to the end. Still a little bit of a bitterness, but a little bit more well-rounded, in my opinion, than the Saaz. Let's try this beer. I'm so happy it's a Helles. I was really kind of honestly worried that we were going to be doing some giant, we haven't had like a giant porter or anything like that yet, and I'm really not in the mood for that. Oh yeah, look at the foam. Look at the foam. So you've heard me complain many times about the way I pour beer when it's just all head, and that's all user error, but this is just perfect. And that comes because the beer is made perfectly. A really well-made lager is going to have a nice, perfect head. What is that, a quarter inch, if that? Now look at the color on this. So that Munich malt is going to bring a little bit of a darker color. If this was like that traditional Czech, it'd be much lighter. But this has more of a deep kind of burnt straw almost. Hay quality to it. Just a beautiful beer. Very tiny bubbles, effervescent. I love that. On the nose, tons of cracker, white crispy crackers on it. Lots of wildflower. I'm getting the white pepper again. I've been getting a lot of white pepper lately, and I wonder if it's with the respiratory thing I went through. Obviously, my palate's going to be different. My sense of smell is going to be a little bit different. I wonder if that's coming from that, because I used to pull it out of beers once in a while, but really I get just a strong amount of white pepper out of a lot of beers lately. But it's beautiful citrus, that lemon pith once again, tons of wildflower, the yeasty notes, the cracker. Art history. Now that's a lager. That's a perfect Helles lager. Hold on one second. Hold on. Oh, that's doing something to me, man. That's bringing out some emotions here. What a beautiful beer. The maltiness, the mouthfeel that the heavier malt brings, the Munich malts bring, just weighs a little bit more. It's not as light and quick finishing as a traditional like Czech Pilsner. It has a little bit more mouthfeel, more body. The sweetness is up front. Well-rounded toast notes. That floral component like wildflowers, edible wildflowers, and that lemon, that citrus, that pithy citrus, and then the bitter qualities of the Hallertauer hop, which is just, it's a perfect, well-rounded beer. Sweet to bitter to crisp to done. It doesn't need to sit for forever. Lagers, are complex, and they do tend to have a longer-lasting mouthfeel. But what I love about a really well-made Pilsner or Helles is that they hit. You get all the flavors of the explosion, done, you're salivating, ready for more, which I am. See you on day 14. I'm going to sit back and have a moment with this very special beer. Well done, Art History. No joke, well done.